Hello, and welcome to Road to SEA 2023. This is Shellyan Edwards Barron, and I'm a creative writing specialist. So far in this series, we've been talking about report writing and narrative writing, but for August, we're taking a little detour into understanding what parents can do to support their children while they learn. Now, the last session, we spoke to Candice Dacia Francis. She's a primary school teacher, but she also has a bookstore called Bold Print Bookshop, and she has the Desha Academy to support your children as well. So, what we're going to do today is we're interviewing another group of people. Now, this one, I can't tell you how excited I am. When we first started the conversation, I had no idea that the session would go so amazingly well in terms of the content and the type of information that they were able to share. So it's another bookstore, but it's a bookstore with a little difference. And when we talk about it, when I share the information, you'd see what I mean. And you'd understand why I'm so excited being someone into writing and reading as well. So this recording is going to be shared. If you're looking at the replay, thank you. If you are looking at it the first time it's aired, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And now let's get into the interview. So with me, I have Dora and Emma, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you the good news of who they are and where they're from. So Dora, let's start with you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear us well?
Yes, I'm hearing you quite clearly.
All right. So my name is Dora Constantine. I am from Argentina, and I've been here in Trinidad and Tobago, this beautiful country, for 20 years. So I am at the book experience together with my colleague as well here.
Hi, I'm Emma Graham. I am originally from St. Lucia. I have been living in Trinidad for the past 7 years. I am affiliated with Book Experience, and it is a pleasure working with them over the past years. So we are both here from the Book Experience.
Awesome. And now you've been hearing book experience, and I think we need a little bit more about what the book experience is, where it is, and why. And then, when Dora explains, you'll understand why I'm so excited about chatting with these two ladies.
But yeah, we are very excited too. And the reason that book experience is because we are, as I was sharing with Michelle, I met my husband on Logos. So some people know us as Logos Experience, which actually is our original name that we begin to. And I met him in one of his ships. This is probably about the Logos that normally, the ship that normally came to Trinidad and Tobago and bring a lot of books on board, from educational, health, cooking. And I mean, we met on that ship and we served on board for 5 years. And we always have that passion to see what we saw in many countries. We visited more than 70 nations, and we saw books and reading transforming people's life. I mean, reading transformed my life, my husband's life, and we wanted to see the same impact in Trinidad. And we thought, why we have to wait until the ship arrive here every 2-3 years, 1 year. We want to bring that experience and have it here constantly, permanently in Trinidad. So that is the reason that we began with the experience of the bookstore in Trinidad.
Yes, and also as a teacher, I know the importance of reading, the importance of books. So that's my passion led me here. And not like Dora, but my husband works with them. I did not meet him at the book experience, but like her, we met through ministry. So right now we are working, I work with the book experience during my vacation, and we are located on 21 Yard Street in Chaguanas. You could find us there.
So for those who are like me, who wait patiently and budget for the Logos, now we can budget for the Logos book experience. It's right here every day every year, every, weekday, we know the hours, working hours, we can go and visit and get the books. All right, so Emma, you raised a very important point, and it's something that I've had discussions with parents about before, but the way you explained it with the example, I think I really want to touch on that again. It's when you mentioned interacting with your nephew, he, for whatever reason, has that emotional, um, I guess, distress associated with books. So when he sees the printed material, he has a problem. So what you did was to present it online, digital first, and then sort of gradually get him into having a different experience. And we keep coming back to that word experience. And I love it so much, considering that the name of the store is the book experience, but you guys are really talking about having an experience with books and reading. So I want to find out a little bit more about that concept of meeting the child where the child is, where reading is concerned, and sort of like having a plan to get them where you think they should be. But I think a lot of parents make the mistake of thinking a child is supposed to be reading a particular thing. And both you, Dora and Emma, you mentioned if the child is interested in science, you don't necessarily have to give them a novel. You can give them a book about amazing facts and science, and then that could lead to reading stories about science and so on, but you don't have to start there. You can start with, more manageable reading material. Yeah, so tell me, yes.
You start where the child is at. Like I was saying, he's writing the tangible. So just take them to where they're comfortable at. And also not just in terms of their reading, but a comfortable space. So it makes it more appealing to the child. You get them as adults, when we're most comfortable, that's when we would have maximum output. So if you want the child to read, you want to get the child to the level at which you feel that they should be at, you start where they're comfortable. They're comfortable with reading off the screen. That may not, in your opinion, that might not be the best thing. You think of the eyes, but you start them where they're comfortable and you gradually take them to another level. So they're comfortable at just reading a 4-word sentence. Let them start there. Let them do the picture reading. Yes, they might be 9 and 10, but the child cannot read at the level of a 9-year-old. So you take them to where they're at, and gradually as their confidence builds, then you elevate, you go to the next level. But again, I will emphasize, let the child be involved in choosing their reading material. That makes it more. My nephew wants to do cars, trucks. I will not have him go and read on space. I may read something about space to him just to broaden his knowledge. But he wants to read about cars, I get him to read about cars. And he learns, he's not learning just about cars, but he's learning words. And as he sees those words, he will be able to use them or identify them in another reading material in the school text. So I feel that's what it should be. Make them comfortable, both in the reading material and in where you have them, the area in which you have them read. That will help them a lot.
Yes, and Dora, you had mentioned continuing from that, reading with your daughter and not just, saying, here's something you like to read, go and read it. But you interact with her while she's reading, before she reads, after she reads, ask questions, you spend time with her. Talk a little bit more about that, because I think that is something that parents really need to understand as well. It's not just about giving a child a book and say, go read this, and then come back and tell me what you've read. It's really more of a conversation with the reading.
Yes. One of the things that we will do devotions as a family. We will make sure she reads her devotion. All of us share the devotion that we read for the morning or in the evening, whatever time we have our time to pray. I will make sure she's reading. As well, is she going to lie down, or we're going to bed with her, whatever book, if it's the Bible, if it's a specific book that she will read to me, and I'm listening carefully. And if I found a difficult word, I will ask her if she understood what it meant. And sometimes she will realize, no, I just read it. I say, okay, let's find out what it will mean. And she will continue doing that. When she read a book, she will say, all right, I had to do a research. I don't sure what that word mean, you know? It's not like we just, because as Emma said, sometimes we will handle a book that is not at that level. But when she realized that we continue to do that with our kids, like, do you understand what it said? They will realize, oh no, I need to go back and see really fully what that meant to me. And they feel like I encourage when you're really paying attention to what they're reading, not just, just be with them, continue to ask questions. And I love when she read to me. I mean, she read beautifully. And as I say, help to improve my English as well. As well, I enjoy listening to her.
That is absolutely amazing. You know what I'm thinking as you guys are speaking about the reading and interacting with the children while they're reading? I'm thinking that we really probably don't, most of us don't have a good idea of what reading actually is. We think reading is simply just, we go to the book and we get the information. But reading is about more than that. It's really about interacting with the information in in the written form. So it's not just about books, it's about interacting with printed words. It's about interacting with the information. So you're having conversations, you're sharing your opinions and your ideas about what you've read. Mm-hmm.
And I think when a child see you excited about something, and like, I don't like the sentence where you say, all right, you will send a child to pray because it's a punishment, as well you don't send a child to read because it's a punishment. So they will grow up with that concept, You send a child to read and you sit down and read with them because it's something that you enjoy doing. It's like, I will not ask her to do something that I know she will not enjoy. She must see us enjoying reading, and I, that is a concept that I have. For me, I will not say, okay, I love reading, I don't like reading, but you must read. The child, I mean, we have to lead by example. I know it might be difficult for some parents, and they might say don't have the time, but we can demand to our kids. I will not demand to my child something that I know it will not be enjoyable, or in that sense, she must see from me that as an example. I don't know, I just have that concept.
Or not just, you're speaking about this, not having the time, but there may be some parents who are not able to read, or who are not able to read well. Your child may never discover that, not until they become an adult, if you show an interest. You pick up that book, read the pictures, have your child read, and you listen attentively, and you ask questions. And that child may never discover, not until later on, that, hey, my parent was never able to read. But again, as we keep saying, you question the child. What did you learn? Hey, what did that word mean? What does that word mean? I just heard you mention a word there. What does that word mean? You can't read a word in the book, but because you're listening to the child and you're speaking with the child, that child will notice, hey, my parent is showing an interest. So because of that, they too, and the parent then will learn. Especially if you have, for the younger ones, what I do, I have them point to the word as you read. So in that way, if the parent is not able to read, you can pick up a couple words as your child reads along. So it helps you as an adult, not just the child, but it also helps you. I love the family reading time, where you get to discuss what the book is. Another thing that I find has worked really well, and some parents would share that, you take the child out. Okay, you're going to the supermarket, you take the child out. The child can read the labels on the supermarket. Don't leave them home and go to the supermarket, or leave them in the car. Let them come out, and this too could help their reading. They read the nutritional facts of the products that they're buying. And then you can go back and say, okay, let's pick a book on that teaches us more about health, or that teaches us more about food. So you relate it to whatever it is that you're doing. And for me, growing up, I did not so much like books, but the experiences in going out, when I do go out, then they would find a book that relates to something that I went out to do. Whether it is they
Okay.
took us to the beach, they would find a book about that so that I now could see the words and interact with the printed material and not just having the experience of going to the beach, but you can also read about it. While some people
Yes.
may do it the other way, read about it and yes.
Yeah, so it's really all about having the parent or the adult in the child's life showing an interest, not only in the reading, but also in the child and then the learning of the whatever context it is. So I like that idea of, going somewhere and then finding a book about it. Because it's kind of like, we show the real life and then we look at it in print, and then you do it the opposite
Yes.
as well. We look at it in print and then we see the real life. So what we're doing there is showing students that reading is not just here in one place, it's life. You interact with words in life, you interact in the supermarket, wherever you go, you're encountering words and you're interacting in a very dynamic way with the reading. Yeah, so I think so. What I'm getting then is that for parents who are having challenges with their children, the child doesn't want to read, the child doesn't like books, and I mean, like in your nephew's case, that's an extreme response, seeing a book and bursting into tears. That's an extreme response. So we're not just talking about, and if you tell them go and you insist they do it. We're talking about a very emotional response. How do you deal with that? And the examples and the experiences that you've shared are absolutely amazing. And we can see they come from a position of love. And I think that is a main aspect. So we're not looking at reading as a chore. We're not looking at reading as a punishment. We're looking at reading as a
Exactly.
wonderful experience that you can have, that you can transport yourself through your imagination to anywhere you want. And it's like it's an opportunity. So reading now becomes an opportunity for excitement and not a punishment, stop playing your games and go and read. So you're separating, what the child enjoys and sending them to something that they don't enjoy and just leaving it like that. What parents are really supposed to do if they want that kind of appreciation for books is to show that reading is also enjoyable and you can have fun with reading, and reading is a pleasurable experience. It's not a punishment. So I really like this conversation. And I think I'm hoping that parents are getting the message when it comes to reading and paying attention to encouraging a student or a child to read. We have to allow them to choose. So I'm just recapping. So we allow them to choose so that they're choosing things that they're interested in. Don't worry about the level. When they start, we're going to get them moving forward. So let them start wherever they want to read. Let them start with that. If it's a picture book and you think it's below the child's level, that's okay. We're starting here. Does not matter where they start. And then
At the
from there,
comfort zone.
yes, so we allow them to start where it's comfortable, and then we begin to stretch them a little bit at a time. So essentially, then what you're saying is that also parents need to be aware of what's happening with the reading. So it's not just read because I know you're supposed to read and children are supposed to read, that's how they learn. But you have sort of like a plan or an agenda where you want the child to be, what you want them to do. So start wherever, but be aware of where you want them to go next.
You set the goals with them, not
Hmm.
for them, but with them. That's the key. Because you may want them to reach at the class level, and for the child in 6 months, it might be impossible. but you set the goals with them. Okay, this month, let us try to reach at this level. So you make it achievable, and you don't do it for the child, but you do it with them, so they feel a part of it. So they didn't see it as, oh, it's mommy or daddy's thing. That's what they want me to do, but that's what I want to do for myself as well. Inclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last conversation I had was with a primary school teacher, and she was saying something very similar. Include the child in some of the decisions that are being made about their education, have them work with you, have them interact, pay attention. So I'm seeing a pattern here. We talk sometimes about, child-centered learning, and it's very theoretical. This is what it looks like in a very practical way when it comes to reading. Have them involved in choosing their own reading, start wherever they are, encourage them to understand how reading can, you know, open up so many doors, just their imagination, their thinking, show them so many things that they may not have access to. Um, and then encourage them to work with you to plan, okay, what are we going to read next? Make it fun and exciting. Yeah. So,
And the,
mhm,
and, the, and the thing with books is that as you read, it helps your writing as well. And imagine reading the book with a book that where you have to go under the sea. And you've never been under the sea. You don't dive. You've never been in a submarine. But there you're reading a book where it takes you under the sea. And a story comes up, a topic comes up in creative writing where you have to write of the same experience. You've never been there, but you can wow the teacher or your parents because you've read a book about that experience. So it also helps with the writing aspect of the child's life.
yeah, so we're looking at both receiving and producing, because I think that's one thing, because I'm a writing instructor, and that's one of the things that I encourage students to do. And I vary it. So while we're eventually going to be getting to writing words and sentences and stories and essays and so on, there's a gap between where we're having discussions, but we're creating things, because I work with something called multisensory learning. So we don't just deal with the words alone, we get involved. So we do experiments, we do hands-on things. So between the understanding and the producing, there's an experience where the child can do some artwork. They can create something with their hands that represents what they're learning about what they've read. And then after that, then we can start putting it into sentences and getting the stories from there. But we have to have that experience in between. So there's that word again, experience. We keep,
Yes, that's
yeah.
where we so linked and connected.
Mhm.
Yes, it's wonderful. I think in some areas, not only at home, we need to create ways that the kids can experience really what before, while they're reading, if it's about plants, whatever they are, let them experience what the book, whatever they're reading at the moment, go and experience, try our best in that sense, like if it's about transportation, take them to experience different transportation within the country, if it's the bus, the ferry, whatever is in your possibility at the moment, but be able that they can transfer that same reading to the experience, the daily life. As Emma was saying, go to the supermarket, make sure, that they see the daily living as well as they can experience in a book. And they see that transferred to the daily life, that is excited for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I I'm also getting a sense of this is accessible to everybody. We're not talking about, you have to have this amount of money, you have to have this put aside, you need to have, a degree to do this. As a parent, it is totally, absolutely accessible. And certainly if they come to the Logos Book Experience, they're going to get a lot of books at reasonable cost that they can, start the journey. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And our aim, I mean, as I mentioned, our inspiration of the bookstore, the book experience is Logos, because that's where we met, and the titles on board the ship are very affordable. So you will find titles from 15, if you pass me that 10 and above. And the thing is that I don't like to compare, but we do normally do a school visits, primary, secondary, kindergartens, and they invite us all over Trinidad. We've been in from Cuba, from to Sangre Grande, Tibolan. We went to Toko, and we do secondary school visits, and it's exciting to see students choosing their books, and parents have been amazed to see that they want to come back, and the teachers will be very excited because they can afford not only pencils and erasers, but they can afford their own book. We
have books as low as $10, $15. So
right.
It's not expensive that a child can come here and you have $100 and your child can walk out with 10 books.
Yes, easily.
So, and it's not just on one topic, but you get a variety.
Right. One of my favorites, this is one Emma will agree with me, is Funny Readers. And one of the reasons that I like this book is have at the back of the book at the end, parents' tips to assist you how to assist your child. At the end, all the parents' tips and how to assist your child to go through the book. This is level 1, age 4 to 6, and it's very interactive. And one of the things that some parents don't like to hear, but they have stickers, but it's to stick on the book, not in the book, and it will assist your child motivational, right? You have all the stickers, and as well they have the tips for you in each page,
Listen, I think they need to make books like that for adults too. Yes, I like stickers.
Yes.
I like stickers too. So
we have level 1, level 2, level 3. We have these are $15 each. I don't know. I can show you so much. I mean, we have novels for $20 and above, $20, $25, $30.
So, but you mentioned something. Let me interrupt you there because I want to find out more about those school visits, because I know in the time that we have, you can't show us everything. But if a parent wants to find out more, one, they can visit the store, but they can encourage their school to have you visit. So tell us a little bit more about those school visits. What's the process like? Do they contact you, set a date? What's that like?
What we normally do, they can contact us to 773-8658, 773-8658. That is our WhatsApp number. And they will normally we get the name of the school, we set the date, and we do a minimum of 2 days. The reason that we do a minimum of 2 days is that the first day, it might happen that some students forgot, they didn't hear the teacher, or they just didn't bring money that day, and they're very disappointed that they don't have to purchase one book, especially when we go quite Toko, and they know we're not coming back tomorrow. They get very disappointed if we go just for 1 day. So we do a minimum of 2 days visits, and we normally arrive at the beginning of the day, 9 o'clock in the morning, and we stay there for the entire day. They will come per class or 2 classes at a time. I would take a minimum of 10 tables because we like to carry everything, as a little bit of everything from educational, cooking, health. So we have a wide variety of tables, and once we have the space, we bring as much as possible. Yes, and so
even at times, we don't just do books, but then we have puppets associated.
Yes.
So we encourage the children using puppets, or just one of the team members would speak with them. So they don't just get this, but they get from our experience how books have helped us, how we encourage them in staying in school and looking towards their career. We do speak to them on a variety of things, whether it is Bible-based or whether it is secular. We speak with them Sometimes we do it ourselves, or we use puppetry to engage the children and encourage them. And that's another thing that they look forward to.
Yes,
Hmm.
definitely. So it is just we're very encouraged to see them the transformation. Sometimes 2 days, if the school is open according to the time frame the school have. I mean, we visited different schools like Ashka, Swaha, Miracle Ministry, all over the country, whatever they are. We are welcome. And Tobago, we did Tobago many times. I
Nice.
just always tie my hands up to everything to go to Tobago every time. It was a very nice experience doing Tobago, very, very nice. And by the way, I would like to say that Mrs. Graham here, she's married to our best team member, which is Kosi. He's the one normally that in charge of the area of the puppets, and he does a wonderful job. He also sells on the logos. So all our staff have experience to 7 different nations as well as in different parts in Trinidad. He's from Trinidad, Kosi.
Yes.
Yes.
So no, she's not with that just because of the books, yeah?
Yeah.
My husband is from Trinidad, as well my husband is from Trinidad.
Okay.
We forgot to mention that, Miss.
Yeah, so then so that entire thing, so again we're back to this word experience, and I think that is kind of like the theme for the whole conversation, this experience around books, experiences around reading, because reading, I tell students when I teach writing, I tell them writing is part of life, writing is part of communication. It's not something you do for an exam. You have to do this in every aspect of life. And writing is the flip side of reading. Somebody wrote for us to read, and when we write, somebody else is reading it. So we have that I tell them it's the two sides of the same coin, reading and writing. And even with that, I really did not go into that whole experience of reading the way we did today. And it really has enlightened me about how important creating that experience is around reading for students and how simple it is. All you really need is a plan. And when I say a plan, you don't have to like sit down and write down anything in detail, but you do need to be conscious about what you're doing and not just randomly, okay, go and read. We do need to say, well, okay, you're reading here, then this is what we're moving on to. We're having conversations, we're having experiences, we're doing things, we're interacting with the words and each other, and sort of building a relationship around reading. And I think that is absolutely amazing and important. So one question about the school visits, when you set a date, is this a paid visit, or you would go, do the schools have to put out anything when they invite you?
No, what we just ask is for a space, and sometimes the school we have the tables set already. We are, due to the lack of time, sometimes we are not able to see go before in advance, or because it's far. So the school sometimes will send us the pictures. Okay, we make a space in the library. If you don't have a library, they will use the hall. We very much adjust. Once the books are protected, we can be outdoors, indoors. It's whatever space the school have available for us. And as well, they will invite the parents. Some parents will come during the day, and some parents will come at the end of the school, and we normally wait for them to also come and view the books.
Okay, yes,
So
because the books are not just for children as well. So you have a wide range for children, but you have a wide
yes,
range of material for adults as well.
exactly. As well, what allow us also to be able to provide for the parents that if we do a second day, some parents will come, guys, I would like to get a specific title or specific novel. All right, no problem. We do have it at the store tomorrow. We print it. So that's it's helped a lot when we have 2 days. And even some schools invite us for an entire week. That we had to be arranged in advance, but we do, especially with the schools with 800 and plus students, sometimes we had to do more than 2 days. And yeah, so we're very open to that. Just call us in advance to make sure we cater for you.
Okay, that is awesome. So I really want to thank you ladies for taking the time. I mean, we had a few hiccups with the internet and so on, but I'm happy that you stuck it out because this is such valuable information. Because I can't tell you every single week, sometimes in one week, every day, I get a message or a call from a parent. What can I do for my standard 4, standard 5 child who wants to read? I want to get them into reading, they don't like reading. How do I engage? Where do I get books? What kind of books? Lots and lots of questions, and I think you have answered them quite superbly. And not only have you answered in terms of what can be done, what works, you've given experiences, you also have a bookstore. So, if you're looking for something, we know where to find you.
Right? We are open here to help you. And we never be interested anybody come and ask us. We say what the person like to do, even if it's a child, if it's an adult, what they like to do, what they do, and we assist you in that area, and definitely try to keep you within your budget. You definitely, as I must say, you can live with plenty books just with few dollars.
Awesome stuff.
A wide variety in terms of the genre, so you would get that as well.
Okay, awesome. So as we close off, is there anything that you'd want to say, let's say for parents who are those who are struggling, because those who aren't struggling, those who have avid readers, all we need to do is to tell them where you're located and they will find you and they will get their books. But for those who are having a little bit of a challenge, getting their child to read, any final words of advice, anything you think that if they do nothing else, one thing that they can do.
I would say if they do nothing else, create the experience for the child. Get the child to choose what they like. Get them not just to read the book, but experience the book. Get the child comfortable with what they are reading in a comfortable space. In that way, the child feels relaxed and the child is developing their confidence because you've allowed them to be themselves. You've allowed them to choose the material that they are comfortable with. And you will see the child will grow in time. Don't rush them. Don't make reading a chore. Don't make it a punishment. Read with your child. Read to your child. And some parents feel that at 8 years, I don't need to read to you. No, read to your child. Read with your child. Allow your child to read to you. Even if it's just a 4-word sentence they can read. Allow them to read. Let them find that space. Let them find that their level, their comfort level. So they could springboard from there. And again, because reading is so essential, give your child a variety of things to read from, not just the curriculum text, on arts and crafts, on baking, health, whatever it is that you could provide for your child. You can't afford at the moment to get a book. When you go to the supermarket, take them along. Let them read the back of the boxes. When you take them, wherever you take them, engage them. Let them read the signs on the road. Get the children involved. And that will make a huge difference in their life and will bring joy to the parents as well.
Awesome. So that number one thing is create the experience, and then you explained how to create the experience, which is what I love. So we're not just telling parents, okay, go do that. We're explaining in detail how to get it done, and you're speaking from experience because you've done this with your child and with other children to help encourage them to read. So Dora, what would you say? What is that number one thing? Do you agree or do you have something else to add?
Oh, yes, so I think I must say correctly, but I always had to say that I say for me to myself and for my family that a house is built by block, and our family had to build by values and moral. And if it's Christian morals, it's best for me personally, for my family. But those morals, it had to be led by example. And that the best way that you can teach your child something that you want them to do is doing it yourself. So when you begin yourself doing it, you will see then how they will follow you. We can't expect something from a child if they don't see it from us. You might have struggles to get there, but it's not impossible. Just apply the same thing that you want to teach your child, as Emma was saying. Begin at your comfort zone. You find, it's a big. I said this is a big book. I don't really, I can't, I don't want to read it. Choose a cooking book. You like to cook. Do the same thing that you want your child to do, by leading by example, and let your morals be something that build your home. You know your standards, and let your child see that you have goals set in your daily living. And I think that is one of the ways that we can assist our kids in every area, not only in reading.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so very, very much, ladies. I was excited about the interview. Now we're at the end of it. I'm even more excited because of what you shared and what we discussed.
All right, but thank you so much for this time, and Nicholas, Cozy, Emma, Dora. This is our team here, and Hannah. Sometimes Hannah might be around too. Sometime my daughter, and we're very excited to see you soon.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, who you looked at the live when it was played, or you're looking at the replay, thank you so much for your time. Now you have a wealth of information about reading and what you can do as a parent or teacher to encourage students to read, especially the reluctant ones. And for all readers, you know where to get reasonably priced books in a wide range. And those of you who know about the Logos floating library, we call it, then please visit. You can relive that excitement any day. You don't have to wait for the boat anymore. You don't have to wait for the ship anymore. You can relive that experience at the Logos Book Experience. So this is the end of the live. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.